All right, North, welcome back to the tactics board. Coach Mahoney here. I'm going to go over an offense that we've kind of already been running a little bit, but I wanted to show you some of the rules because we've been practicing black, which is our motion offense using a 1-3-2 look with two behind. But this is what we started with, our open offense. We call this one gold. And unlike black, where you rotate between the triangles, etc., there still are some motions within this open offense, but one of the things we're looking for with an open offense is to kind of draw the defense out a little bit and create lanes inside for cuts and feeds, right? And then what we'll do is create a couple little rules here as well. Similar to black, we have two triangles. We have our midi triangle, we have our attack triangle, right? So we're still working the triangles. And we're still working kind of adjacent play for give and goes. Okay, so different than, there's not a rule where the midi triangle passes to the attack triangle and that necessitates a rotation of the triangles. We're not going to put that in as a rule because there may be times that we don't actually want to rotate that triangle because we're trying to set something else up. But the one rule that we will hold on to is that if the ball carrier decides to carry the ball in one direction or the other. Okay, so we'll say like the ball carrier, the midi up top has the ball and he decides he wants to carry down low. That is going to push a rotation, okay? And just like in black, when you rotate, if you're on the wing and you can make a cut into the house and then come back through, that's what we're looking for. So a shallow V, shallow cut in here, as he pushes the rotation around with your stick, looking for a pass. So remember, when we rotate our triangles, it's not just about moving the triangle, but it's about trying to create opportunities for a quick pass, feed, and shot. So if top center midi here decides to carry to his left, he carries left. The top right midi here shallow cuts in, looking for a quick feed because maybe he gets behind his defender, or maybe he can just get enough speed to where if he catches it, even if the defender, we'll say, you know, if we had defense out here, his defender's probably playing in a hot position right here. This defender is on ball. As he carries down, this defender's going to come with him. He's going to shallow cut, which is he's going to be behind a step because he's not sure if this guy's dodging or what he's doing. And if we really want to sell this, you can even carry it even harder where you're going to do a V cut, fake a dodge, work to the rotation. And in that case, you might bait the hot slide on the right side, leaving this guy wide open for a feed behind and then a shot. But the main point that I'm getting at here is in order to rotate the triangles, we're going to use the carry. So again, if we're over in this position and he's on ball, this defender's hot left, and this midi decides he wants to carry down to his right, he'll start to carry. The defender or the ball will go with him. This wing midi, I want you to see him coming. So you need to be paying attention. You realize, okay, he's coming towards you. He hasn't passed the ball. He's obviously carrying it. I want you to shallow cut in, and this guy's going to respond. There may be an opportunity right here. Put your stick in front. Don't have it behind, because on this shallow cut, if you try to catch behind your head, good chance you're going to get checked. But if you put it in front of you, there may be an opportunity for a feed. Now you're in the house and you can take a shot. If that doesn't come, if he just carries all the way down to the wing, okay, that's fine. Nothing there. Shallow cut through and push through, and this midi's going to rotate up to the top. We keep our triangles. Okay? So that's the first rule. Carries to rotate. Okay, carry to rotate. The midi's never going to just carry into the middle. So for the most part, you're going to have carries up top or carries down to the wing, and it'll rotate, resulting in, you know, if we carry this direction, same kind of deal. So if he's on ball, he's hot right, and this is the adjacent. If this wing midi decides to carry up top, what I'd like to see is, again, a shallow cut in. Go ahead and don't just go straight to the corner. I want you to shallow cut in and see if we can manage to get a feed to you before you come back out to where you're supposed to go. Same thing on the guy who's coming across. So we're carrying up this direction. We should have a shallow cut in here and a shallow cut in here. Okay, so it's not a straight triangle. Shallow cuts in both directions. Stick up, looking for a feed. If it doesn't come, continue your rotation and set the shape. Okay, remember your shapes. Okay, so that's rotation. Same thing can work down below. If we have the ball at X and he decides that he wants to carry, if he carries up this direction, what I'm looking for, again, in this case, we're gonna have probably poles playing defense down here. He's gonna carry, this pole will come out. This pole is gonna be in position in case he's a dodger and wants to go. What I'd like to see as he carries to the wing, this attackman, either gonna come play two-man with him, but on a rotation, what I wanna see is a cut, look for a feed, and you might have it. If it's not there, clear through, rotate, everybody finishes their rotation, and we set the shape again, okay? Any type of rotations always makes it a little bit tougher on the defense, so it's worth just rotating the triangles even if you're just carrying. One thing that we saw in our first game was that we were under a lot of defensive pressure almost every time we had the ball. And what I'd like to be able to do is get to a point where if we pull it out, right, outside the restraining line, maybe things will settle down a little bit. However, if they're going to play hard pressure defense, we have to take advantage of that because we're playing on ball way up here. Okay, there is a lot of space down here for you guys to get into position to help this midi out. If he's under pressure, I want the guys who are closest to him, the adjacent players, moving into positions to where they can help. And the more quickly we can pass the ball down to an attackman, the faster we're going to be able to exploit the fact that their defense is way extended and not ready to get back into the house and stop any of those inside shots. Okay, so let's talk about rule number 2 in this offense. Rule number 2 in this offense is what I'm going to call the cross-court cuts, or cross-field cuts, if you will. And the idea there is that an automatic cut should be initiated, particularly on the corners. A little bit different when we're top center or back at X. But when we pass the ball down here, when it's a pass, I want to see my backside guy, the guy on the backside of the offense, I want to see you run a cut. I want you to be sneaky, try to sneak behind your defender, see which way he's looking, get into his blind spot, run a cut, because what will happen then with this guy, you're going to be defended. And the best chance, if he's not hard pressure at this point, the best way we can use this is by V-cutting, popping out, seeing the cut, feed, shot. Okay, we don't always have to dodge to beat our guys. A lot of times we want to dodge to draw a slide. Okay, so if these guys are playing in the proper position, they're going to look something like midi, 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 pull, pull, and pull. Okay, so he's way out here, and what we would expect to see for a defensive set guarding an open offense like this is that this man will be on ball. This guy will be hot right, hot left, 2 right, 2 left, 3. Okay, and so what we can see here is that there is space for this man to operate. If he stays way out here, 2 things are going to happen. If his defender plays him tight, there's a huge gap in the middle to exploit with some feeds and good shots in the front. But if he plays proper 3 positions, which would be sloughed in towards the house, you still have an opportunity to make things happen. As an attackman on the wing, if the ball is top left, my bottom right attackman needs to be either looking for a cut up top side to get a nice hands-free shot into the goal here, or potentially cutting underneath and receiving a cut right here in the house, right in the goalie's face, okay? As he does that, X-Man, you need to be moving into positions as well, because what we want to be doing is making this crease attackman kind of pull away and open some of this up. So what I don't want our X-Man doing is just taking a nap back here at X. You have to be moving and dynamic to require the defense to keep track of you. If they look and they see you at X every time they look, you're not hard to defend. So I want you moving from one side to the other side of GLE, floating across the crease, doing all sorts of stuff, making there to pull, not sure where you are and what you're doing. That takes their attention away from the ball carrier, who then can V-cut hard or dodge. If he draws the slide from either side, he should be dumping to where the slide came from. Those rules still apply. Okay, so if the slide comes to him, always remember, if a slide comes to you, the man who was guarded by that slide is now open. So I want you to dump the ball off to them. He's hands-free, and he can do some different things. This cut ran, there's a chance that he's going to still be there. So if it's a quick bang-bang play, you still have a good opportunity to do something with it. Now, same thing applies if we have the ball down low. Okay, so if we go here, this guy's on ball, hot left, hot right, 2 right, 3, 2 left. Okay, that's what it looks like. If the ball's down here, I want my back, the cross court player, the guy who's on the backside of where the ball is, you should be running an automatic cut, looking for a cut. Come down, run it. If he can get you the ball by V-cutting and shedding this dude and hitting you on the run, boom, boom, that's a goal, okay, guaranteed. If it's not there, flow back out, clear through. But that is the automatic motion that we use in Gold, is the diagonal feeds, right? When it hits a corner, I want to see the opposite corner run a cut into the heart of the house and then circle back out, okay? Now, when the ball gets back to X, we will be looking for the same thing out of the top center midi, but not just him. Depending on how they play the X attackman, if they don't play him hard, if they decide to let him just hang out back there, then what I'd like to see is, starting with top center, just this wave of cuts that come through, stick up, looking for it, it's not there, cycle through, this guy comes through, comes out, comes down, comes out. These two wing attackmen are not really involved in these cutting right now, but this guy here needs to be a good feeder and looking for opportunities for a hands-free dodge. If he gets like right here and this dude is playing a little low, you may have a nice look right there for a shot. This is where passing and catching, okay, we hit it every practice, passing and catching, passing and catching. We can't do these plays if we can't pass and catch accurately. And that ball has to be up near the helmet. It can't be at his knees, all right? Feeds to the knees are just that's game over. He's going to come in, try to scoop that feed and get clobbered by either one of these defenders. So we have to have passes up in the box. And the box is that kind of square rectangular shape right next to the helmet where the stick, the head of the stick should be. Okay, so every time we practice line drills and practice passing and catching at practice, we need to be mindful of getting that ball where it needs to be. If we can't put it right there, it's difficult to make any of these plays actually work. Okay, so we have talked about how we rotate our triangles using the carry. Okay, we have talked about the cross field cuts that I want to see automatically. Ball comes down here, this guy needs to run a cut and cycle out. Ball gets passed around, hits here, this guy has to come in and run a cut and cycle out. Okay, it has to be there because the ball carrier, the guy who receives that pass, needs to know that there's going to be a cut coming. So he needs to look at it. And optimally, the way this works really well is if the ball gets passed out to the wing, the defense comes out, he comes in as though he's on a dodge, but then pops out, making the defense shift towards him. If he baits them with a dodge, the defense will look in his direction, which will take attention off the backside cutter. So you have to be ready to come in, cut hard, pop out, right? And stick left or right if you like passing the other way. Cut this way, freehand, and be looking for this feeder right here. It'll be there a lot of times because the backside defenders have a hard time keeping their focus both on their man and where the ball is. And a lot of times they will tend to watch the ball more than their man. So the guy who's on the backside of this open offense, you will have opportunities to run a very good cut. And so we'll have to just make the connection with the feed. And if we can do that, you're going to have some time you're going to have a very small window in the house to pull the trigger and bury that ball for a goal. Okay, so we know how to rotate the triangles. We know the cross field cuts that we're looking for. The last thing I want to look at is just kind of what would fall into a two-man game perspective, where within your triangles, but even outside your triangles, okay, there can be opportunities here, and we got to come up with a code word for a give and go. You wouldn't think you would need to, but so often when we pass, once we pass, this guy usually doesn't do anything. He's like, okay, I don't have the ball anymore. What I want us to get used to doing is every time we pass the ball, we go ahead and run a cut. Okay, because this defender's on ball, this defender's hot right. When he passes up, I want to see him run behind so that this ball can maybe come right back to him. I just want that to be automatic. Because here's the thing. Once you pass the ball, can you score? Well, no, not unless you get the ball back. Well, if you stand right here, can you score? If it comes right back to you right here, can you score? Not really. So where do you have to go? If he's on ball and you pass, you have to cut to the middle in order to even have a chance at scoring, right? So I want us to get in an open, when we're running Gold, this is a give and go offense. It's a give and go offense, absolutely. Because So look at this. So we'll combine the two rules, right? We're down low here. This guy's already run his cut and cleared through. It wasn't there. So he passes up. The rule says run a give and go. So he cuts behind looking for a feed. This guy has two options now because his give and go just ran his feed. But where's the other feed? Where's the other cut coming from? The backside. He's got two options coming into the house every time we hit a corner of this offense, as long as every player follows the rules. So in the gold offense, the way we make an emotion is by moving every time we pass the ball. If we pass up top, guess what? I want you to run a give and go. This guy's going to go here. This guy was on. I want you to run a cut. It can come right back to you. Good chance you have a shot right there. The reason we practice give and go so much in practice is because it is the most basic fundamental of a motion offense, and it will yield results, but you have to run them smartly. You have to run behind your defender, and you have to do it automatically. I say we're going to come up with a code word. We're not going to do that. This is one of the rules of the open offense. We're running gold. You're running give and goes every time. Okay, so if you pass up, give and go, not there, cycle back. It doesn't mean it's a rotation. I just want you to run a cut, look for it. If it's not there, come back out. Okay, same thing over here. We're over here. We pass down this way. This defender looks away. This guy goes ball. This guy runs a cut right down the middle. It's right there. Fire. Okay, and we do this all the way around the circle. I'm on ball. I'm hot right. Ball comes over, passes down, cuts behind, floats up to his right, feed, shot. It'll be there, guys. I'll tell you, you'll be able to pick up some nice options out of this open offense because a lot of times they won't defend you with a crease defender. They should be sloughed in. There'll be someone close to the crease, but he's not going to be here. He's going to be backside. Okay, and here's the thing. What are the rules? If he's here and he passes down, runs his cut, where's the other cut? Up here. So this guy with the ball has two options, either down low, feed across Barry, or maybe he wants to go up this way. We don't want to run into each other, so think about that. The cut coming from the guy that's on the same side comes down. He's cut behind his defenseman should be right here. So on the cross side feed, we should be running a low cut so that you're getting two cuts every time. Ball comes around to X, ball goes bottom left. Now, it's a little bit different from X. Okay, so it can be different. It doesn't have to be. You can still run your cut on a give and go. So if he's playing you hard at X, you pass off. This guy comes on ball. You can come around and still look to get here, or maybe you run backside, right? So you can still move. What I want, guys, the rule of this offense is you pass the ball and move. It should be a give and go opportunity. You just figure out where that works. So rule 1, carry to rotate the triangles. And every time we rotate the triangles, you don't just come straight across. You run a shallow cut, look for a feed, and then clear through. Okay? Ball comes down here because we carried and we reset our shape. Comes down here. Man carries down here. Okay? What I want to see here is, again, a little bit of a pop. Possible feed right there as he comes across. And this man rotates over this direction. That's the rotation. That's how we rotate it, carry the ball. Second one is cross field feeds, automatic. And the other automatic motion in the gold offense is the give and go. Every time you pass the ball, run a give and go. Don't just pass and stop. You're getting played hard. He's checking you. He's checking you. He's checking you. You do the right thing and get rid of the ball. Great. He's going to watch where that went, and he's going to take his focus off of you. Go right behind him. Your turn with the ball isn't over until you run your give and go. Comes back to you. Boom. Fire. All right. That's it for gold. All right. 3 rules. Rotate. You carry to rotate. Cross field cuts. And give and goes every time. We do that. It's going to keep the defense guessing. We're going to keep spinning things around, and we'll have some opportunities. All right. That's it for this one. Speed, Honor North. We'll see you at practice.